Hey, welcome to the Doug Show. This is an interview with Christy. We're getting an update for October. I'm going to give you a couple quick announcements before I send it to the show. Number one, if you dig these interviews and case study updates and success stories and whatnot, please make sure you're subscribed. It helps out the channel. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment on this video, other videos, and that sort of thing. If it's your first time watching, welcome. And check out the other videos. And if you do like it, add some support. Really do appreciate it. The other thing is today is Cyber Monday when this episode's coming out. So there are Black Friday / Cyber Monday week deals still going on. So check the link in the description so you can see the list that I logged over at my blog, Niche Site Project. There are discounts, there's some bonuses that I'm offering for specific vendors or products or whatever. It's all listed there. I did my best to make sure everything was accurate. Discounts are accurate. Deadlines are accurate. However, there's a chance that I made a mistake. If there's some discrepancy, I apologize. It was a mistake on my part, probably. Sometimes the information came in a little bit late, but I did my best to make those updates. The other thing I want to mention is I've been doing updates with Christy for, if you go all the way back, something like 3+ years or so. But for the last 2, we've been doing monthly updates in 2021 and 2022. So we're going to get an update for November and December. And then in 2023, we're actually going to scale it down a little bit. We're just going to do updates about once a quarter. Once a quarter is the plan. So if something exciting happens, maybe we'll do an extra one, but the plan is 4 updates for next year. That said, we got a couple more updates for this year, which is cool. So if you want to, leave a comment, if you have questions that you want me to ask Christy next time around, just leave a comment here. You can also reach me feedback@Doug.Show. So I think that's it for today. Check out the Black Friday deals, support the channel by subscribing. And if you have questions for Christy, let us know. Just leave a comment. And without further ado, let's send it to the episode. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show. My name's Doug Cunnington. And in this episode, we're getting an update from Christy. We've been working together for a few years now, and we've been tracking along every single month for 2 years. So that means we must have like 22 interviews just in the last couple of years. So you could follow along with the growth of her site. We have a couple big milestones for the October update, and that is crossing over $10,000 in a month just from the website earnings. Christy also landed a $3,400 retainer with one of the companies in the industry. So technically, the gross revenue is about $14,200, and she hit another traffic milestone of the most traffic that she's seen, and it's pretty amazing. So, Christy, how's it going today?
Well, it's going pretty great for all the reasons you just said.
Yeah, and it's I feel like it's been a long time coming, and you've weathered several Google updates along the way, no major impacts. Generally, I think there have been a couple hiccups, but not like other people have seen. And you've been working on the site for roughly 4 years. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So I, gave away some of the punchline here, but yeah, can you hit some of the results? You could talk about some of the total earnings for the lifetime of the site, what happened in the last month, and break it down. And then we can dive into the traffic.
Sure. So this was a big month, like you said. First time that we've crossed $10,000 just for the site. So for the site plus the writing retainer, we were looking at $14,000 for the month, which is insane because the first month, I just like to remember, was $14. So big change. It is possible. For the year, that puts the site at around $65,000. With the writing retainer, that puts it at about $100,000 for the year. And then lifetime earnings for the site is sitting at $188,000, so $188,000. And then adding in the writing retainer puts us over 2 at $223,000. So that's earnings. And then for traffic, this was a high traffic month again. I love to see that. That makes me feel like the new content is working. So this month, traffic landed at 161,000, and then lifetime of over 3 million, which is cool.
Wow. Very awesome. And as far as expenses, so we do go over expenses too. So you obviously made a lot, but where did some of the money go?
Yep. So this month expenses were $3,600, a little higher than it could have been. I mentioned in the blog update why, but there was $1,700 that I paid for some artwork for a physical product that I want to put together, and $1,000 to my content manager, and then new content cost was $425 for the month. So there was a one-time thing in there, but otherwise pretty standard as far as like content manager and new blogs go.
Cool. And I drank some tea and then it went down the wrong pipe.
It went
so
very
sorry.
well, I thought.
So I think I'm recovered now. Thanks for covering for me.
No problem.
So we do have all the stats and historical information. A lot of people do like to see the blog post, and there's graphs and charts. And again, you could go and look at the last, 2 years of updates out there and track along and understand, how much was spent. And, lifetime expenses, I think were, it looks to be 72,600. So quite a bit of money, but that's over 4 years. And of course, you mentioned the lifetime earnings are 188. So, pretty, big investment, but also it's paid off, especially if you look at the actual valuation of the site. If you look at it as an asset, not just a cash flow machine.
Which I always forget to do. So I have no idea what it would be worth now.
Right. And probably, the fact that you have different traffic sources, although mostly Google, right? Probably 90% Google.
Mm-hmm.
But you have multiple revenue streams from different affiliate programs, a good split between your Amazon revenue and then your ad revenue. So I think you would probably be at least in the 40x range. You also have an email list and some very good links. So I think it would be maybe in the low 40x monthly multiple. So that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Could be, 400, 500K.
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
a lot.
Very good.
But then again, hopefully, if I just keep it another 5 years, I'll make that anyway, and it'll be worth even more.
Right.
We'll see.
Exactly. So it's very dramatic if you look at the chart, the earnings that, tracked starting at the very end of 2018, and then, kind of a continual growth. And you could kind of, look at a trend line there and see, there were maybe a couple little setbacks here and there. You can see the big retail seasons, which we're kind of bracing for right now. And yeah, pretty amazing. So how much time are you putting into the site these days?
So I've definitely put in less time on new content since hiring a content manager, which I've only done this year. So that's amazing. Like, I'm not proofing articles. I'm not working with writers anymore. I'm not doing any of that stuff. So pretty much my time is spent on reviewing and publishing new content, also doing all the keyword research, and just doing kind of like the overall, where's the site heading, developer projects, all that kind of stuff. But overall, yeah, I've given away a lot of the stuff that I used to do. And that's opened me up to be like, well, how do I want to do the site next year? So
cool.
Kind of exciting.
And we'll actually dive into that in the next update. But let's dig into the earnings, because it was definitely, quite a bit of growth from the previous month, which was, fine. I think the last 3 months were tracking right around 7,000. And then we jumped a lot to over 10,000. So what is that? That's something like a 45% increase. So why did that happen? What was going on?
Yeah. So Amazon was a major player in that. It actually jumped about $3,000 from last month, which is insane. Part of that reason we could chat about was that Amazon was doing kind of a special promotion of commission increases starting October 1st through the end of the year. I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that after historically just cutting commissions. So that's unknown. But I'm not looking that gift horse in the mouth. That's fine. So Amazon was up 3,000 and ads were also up nearly 3,000, which is really cool. So no, that's not right. I'm looking at my numbers wrong. Amazon was up 3,000. Ads were up about 400. Yes.
That makes more sense.
That is correct. I was like, okay, what am I making? 25,000? No.
Yeah. Okay. So up about 400. So that's like, 10% or something like that. And then the Amazon like doubled basically.
Like, why do you think that Amazon would do that when they've historically only cut things?
As you were saying it, I was trying to think about that. And in the last few weeks here, I think Amazon has talked about layoffs. So they're actually laying off people. The only thing I could think of, which is pure speculation, I have no idea, is knowing there is an economic downturn, inflation is hitting, they maybe want us as affiliates to be a little more proactive promoting to Amazon.
I want them to think they need us.
Right. And maybe that is it. Over 2 years, it's given people a lot of time to either shift to other affiliate programs. Sometimes there's no other option, but if you're in the, technology space or like photo and video, there's like Adorama, I don't know how to say that company, and then B&H Photo and a couple others. Walmart's a big player too. I think Walmart has is it Walmart Plus? It's like
they have like an affiliate program too.
And they have a similar program to like Amazon Prime. And you get like gas discounts and like 2-day shipping and essentially the same kind of benefit. So maybe there's a little bit more competition in that space.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I could think of.
That's the only thing I could think of was like, do you need us again?
It's a supply and demand thing. Yeah. And it could be, the other part is, I think there's a ton of Amazon affiliates out there, but in our space, especially in the YouTube area where a lot of people are talking really about informational sites, it seems like a lot of newer niche site owners and creators are trying to do all information and go for display ads.
That's what I've seen too.
Well, and almost all of them, and they're like, we want to stay clear of product reviews. And I mean, there's a balance, but there's a supply and demand situation that eventually will show up, and maybe that's it. I don't know. So, and I wasn't sure. We actually had to look it up before the call. It's all the way to the end of the year, so I didn't know if it was just going to be like just October, but it's the full quarter. So all the way to the end of the year, which it'll be really significant.
And it's not every category, just as a reminder, it's not every category that they have, but it's probably 12 categories. And they're pretty decent ones. None of them are my primary one, but doesn't matter to me. I'll take commission raises at any point.
It'll make a big difference. Yeah. And the thing is, who knows, they may extend it or, make it more permanent or change it. But yeah, if people check like their email, which they had to opt in the September timeframe, then you can see exactly what the previous commission rate was and what they moved it up to. But often it was whatever, like 3% to 5.5%. So that's a huge amount. It doesn't sound that much because you're talking like 3 to 5%, but that's like 50%, 45% increase in earnings. So, okay.
And I've clearly benefited. So
yeah, for sure.
Great.
Any other in any other areas as far as earnings that were interesting?
I did just a little bit of catch up on like some smaller affiliate programs I don't often check. So occasionally I'll just go back in and check a bunch of them. And so there was another like $500 in that bucket of just doing catch up on those. So it doesn't cost me a lot to just have some other little ones in the mix. And I just don't check them every month.
Okay, cool. And then anything in the way of like media sales? So you put together a media kit and essentially those are like direct ads with brands. So did you earn any from there?
So we did have a $300 sale from the media kit for 2 posts, and we have not received them yet, but I did get paid. So all good.
Okay, that's cool. You know, sometimes when you work with a company, they're like, you have to deliver and then we're going to pay you. But here you have the leverage. So you could say, no, you have to pay me first.
Which is what you told me last time, because the first company did do that. And then the second time here, I was like, it is due up front.
Yeah.
So took your advice.
Yeah. And you can't, I mean, the thing is, especially, you know, with your particular site, you have like, you don't have to do it. So you could just say no.
Right.
And it's not a big deal. It's not going to change what you're doing or your expenses or anything, because, you know, the way that you have structured your expenses, like you save the money that you spent this year, you saved that last year, right?
Yep.
Okay. So you're running it like an actual business where you have cash reserves. You're not like running.
And I actually just did that again for 2023.
Cool.
So I set aside everything that I'll need for next year, this year.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So that covers the earnings and the expenses. So what about content? So initially our goal was to publish about 400 articles by June, and then about halfway through you decided not to. So where are we at now?
Yeah, I decided not to. So now we're over 200, which is great. And I did catch up on the publishing that I got behind on. So we had about 25 new posts go up in October.
Okay. And then
the whole site, I would say too, is now sitting at around like 688 posts, I think.
Okay.
So a bunch.
688. All right.
A bunch.
Are you starting to run out of keywords? That seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I put 400 into this document for new content. So like there's another 200 for sure without me doing any extra work. So yeah.
Okay.
Not right now.
So you're in good shape.
We're in good shape.
Okay. And you have been publishing a lot of new content over the year, and we put together a custom report so you could track along. So how many visitors have gone to the new content?
Yep. So tipped over 100,000. We're at 133,000 for the year. And that is since we started doing that in like April was really when it picked up. So that's for, not a full year, but.
And you have 1.2 million for the year. So that makes, roughly 10%, a little bit more than 10%, which is kind of amazing. It's new content and it boosted your traffic by 10%.
And there is a chart of that for anyone who wants to see that. Like you can see a very clear growth line in the blog post with a couple of higher blips in the middle. Not sure what those are about, but yeah, on the whole, the trend line is good.
Cool. And I think, sometimes you end up with spam type traffic bots. So unless there was a specific reason that you could track back where you could see that traffic came from social media, maybe it went viral, but I think probably, these show up occasionally and technically you could filter them out. But in this graph, it's just the raw data, which is fine.
And there was one post, if I'm remembering correctly, that went out around that time that I have gotten some affiliate sales from. So it's possible it was real.
Okay.
I don't know.
And I think this highlights one area. So, Christy, you stay out of the metrics and details, and you don't even really
famously
look.
So.
Right. So, one could go and look at the source of where they're coming from and see how they interacted, even just with the basics of Google Analytics. You could go and see like this traffic stayed on the page for 5 minutes, or they were there for like 1 second or less. And then you could make a determination if it was real traffic or not.
One could do that.
Yep. But at the end of the day, it doesn't
not doing
actually.
it.
Yeah. And the thing is, some people are like, why would you not look? You focus on the content more than anything else. And it turns out, here's the thing, right? If you looked and we determined that it was spam traffic, would it change any decisions that you have made or will make in the future?
No, it just make me feel more neurotic about it.
Exactly. So unless you're going to do something with the information, it doesn't really make a huge difference. It would be good to know, and you could have like cleaner data, right? But again, it's just a blip. So the trend line is, distinguishable, and you can make assumptions from that, which is you publish new content and people visited that traffic or visited that, and you can see it via the traffic.
And we don't talk about this all the time, but I do have kind of a famously delayed data checking. Like I don't check earnings or traffic or anything until the 15th of every month. So like the first 2 weeks, I don't look at it and I'm just working. And then mid-month I check, and it gives me a really good sense of where I'm going to be at the end of the month. But what I find is that if I allowed myself to become the person that is checking every 5 minutes, that's not productive at all. So I just don't do that. So food for thought. It's not for everyone, but it works for me.
And I'm not that intense in that area, but generally, like you make a plan and then you execute the plan. So, I'm thinking this year the stock market is down quite a bit. And like that is where I do a lot of investing. And I don't look. I have a friend.
Same.
I chatted with him yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, and you look like every day at your portfolio." And he's like, "Sometimes every hour." So the thing is,
brutal.
He doesn't do anything different with it,
right?
But he says that he enjoys it. He might actually enjoy it, but I don't know.
Well, I know that I wouldn't enjoy it, so there's no reason for me to be doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And he may have gotten to the point where he does enjoy it, because I think at some point it actually would stress him out. I mean, when it goes up, that's cool. But the problem is you get the downside too.
Right.
And he said he in 2022, he's down 1.5 million. So that hurts a little bit. And that was up a little bit. Yeah.
But do you want it to hurt every hour?
He says
that seems like the difference.
Yeah. He says he likes it. I don't know.
I really need to get him another hobby, maybe.
I think so.
Something more positive.
Well, the thing is, that means he's looking at it like social media. So, and like by habit, he's
you
just
guys got to get off of there too. Get off of there.
Yeah. Same. Okay.
Anyway, point being, find a process that works for you, that is productive and is not just looking at the data. Like, I think that if starting out, I was just in analytics all the time, I wouldn't have written all the articles to get the site started. Like, you just get stuck.
Right.
So for me, at least, it was like, do the job and then look and see if it's working. That, I can't stop doing the job every 5 minutes to try to see if it's working. Like, you're not going to get a good sense of it.
And the delay is so long from like the work you're doing until you see the results that is not super useful. Another part of that is, I completely forgot what I was going to say, but.
Well, I would just say that it's like demotivational to do that, to look for like daily progress. And so if you're trying to do this over the long run, which is what I'm trying to do, is like stay motivated and stay interested in it. Like, I need to see some broad trends of like, this is working. I don't need to see it wasn't working the last 40 minutes. Right. Like, that doesn't help me want to go publish articles. So.
And I thank you for filling in. I remembered what I was going to say. So a lot of times more data is not necessarily helpful. It depends on the data. But, to your point, you were focused on execution, not like results early on. And part of that is like we were working together and I told you, don't look too often. It's going to get in the way. And usually people can't help it and they still do more than whatever I recommend.
did what you said.
And you followed it, and you focused on execution. So there have been studies on this. So I won't be able to reference exactly where I heard this, but basically people and experts who have like a ton of data and they're given all this data to make a decision, they will, analyze the data, they'll make a decision, and they'll feel really confident about it. And it turns out they're no more correct than people that do not have the data.
Yeah.
And then, they just feel more confident about it. So it's like an expert or data bias.
Yep.
And sometimes having more data does truly help you make a better decision, but sometimes it doesn't. And we think certain data is really helpful. So again, we're looking at the spam traffic that we could filter out, but it turns out it doesn't matter because you would have done exactly the same thing as you did. So we know it probably doesn't matter. The other side of it is if it did go viral, right? If it actually was a good post and it went viral, you maybe could have identified a few other topic areas that were really close. So this is the downside. So if it was real, you maybe could have done more of what worked really well. It turned out okay, but you knew which post you published around then. So you looked at it and you probably have considered it, right?
Well, so I actually do a bunch of posts around that topic, which is why I did that one post at all.
Okay.
Product review post. So like, I don't check the data all the time, but I do know that topic is good for me and that Google likes me for that. So that is part of like the new content post hit list for the year. So that's good.
Got it.
But yeah, if I miss out on a little bit, then oh well, I guess.
Okay. Moving on, there are a couple other areas. So there was like a physical product that you were looking at. Can you get us up to date on that and what's going on?
Yes. So this is something that always gets on the back burner because content comes first, and that's totally fine. But last year, the thing that I did was focus on getting the artwork done for what I want to create, because I can't really do that myself the way that I like envisioned it. I need an actual person with real skills. So I had planned to get that done in exchange for doing a small website for this person, but she never got her act together on giving me anything for a website. So after like literally a year and a half, I was like, please just invoice me. Like we're just going to be done. I'm not going to have this thing sitting out there forever. So anyway, I have artwork. I've paid for it. And hopefully next year, I'm just going to be like, let's take 1 month to get this done and be done with it. So it's still an idea I very much like. It just doesn't get prioritized.
Got it. So did you create the website for her?
No, she never sent me anything. So I was like, just invoice me for the art,
Did you, why did you pay her? I mean, I could see paying her some, but maybe not, because you paid her $1,700.
Mm-hmm.
But she like totally failed on her end of the bargain, right?
Well, she did all the art that she promised. I just wasn't able to deliver my half because she didn't give me anything for the site. Gotcha. So like I paid her for what she did, which was legit.
Okay. But, so it is legit and usable and you have the rights for it. Okay. Gotcha. And she just never sent you anything.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
People are not in a real hurry, turns out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to get rid of some of like, this is a broader thing that I'm doing, like getting rid of some of these little, little projects that I have that aren't really paid very well, or they're just like the extra stuff that's always in your mind where you're like, well, I could go publish content or I could do these other 12 things. And I'm just trying to get rid of some of that stuff. And that was one of those things.
Cool. Perfect. Another thing that you're working on is your developer. So you had a developer that you've been working with for a little while. You've kind of gone through these, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think the issue that I've seen generally is that, like everyone, right, developers would like a set amount of work forever. I don't have that, right? Like I may have a couple projects that are larger, but then mostly I'm going to send you like maybe an email or two a month. Like it's not a big income generator for someone, which then bumps us to like the end of the priority list. And you're waiting weeks to hear back and you're following up 8 times. And you're like, I know it's not a big deal for you, but I'm having to remember to follow up on it 8 times. I don't really love it. So that's kind of where we got to. And after having said, well, maybe you could assign us a day of the week in which you get back to me about anything that's open. No, that is unreasonable. I wouldn't be able to do that. And I was just like, I think you can. I've prepaid you hours. I think you could use them however I want to.
Oh, you prepaid?
Like updating. Well, like blocks of 5 hours.
Oh, just 5 hours. Okay.
You know, like, but I'm like, so we can't use it to update me on my projects? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So that doesn't work for me.
Okay.
So yeah. So I found myself a woman that I'm hoping will be great. But yeah, my developer has not even responded to the note about you won't be my developer anymore.
Okay.
Cool.
Where'd you find the developer?
Upwork.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think, that's the thing with freelancers. Like they can come, it's easy to hire one, but they come and go. Sometimes they just, get flaky. So.
Which is fine, but good grief. I feel like I put up with it for a long time and I was like, am I the client? I think so. I think it's me.
Did you at least leave a bad review?
I probably will once I take him out of everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
I'm trying to get his help with like a transition document for the new person. It'd be great if you responded.
There's a strong chance if you documented everything properly that you can get a refund from Upwork. So
yeah, potentially.
Yeah. And it's very easy to do. And I would highly recommend it because you prepaid him and he's not doing the work. He's not even responding. So it's kind of a slam dunk. They're very good with clients. Well,
partly, and I hate to say this, but he wanted to go off of Upwork. And so sometimes we do.
But not always?
Not always. Not at the beginning.
So the last time? Oh, gotcha.
Which is fine.
Right.
At most, I'm down a couple hours, but
yeah.
Point being, like, I've reminded myself that I deserve better customer service than none. So we're moving on to someone who hopefully can actually, like acknowledge when I email them. That would be great. It's kind of a baseline. Yep. I'm very friendly, Doug. This is not something where I'm just like, I am a nightmare. I'm very easy to work. This is not a large commitment of time. Please tell me you got my email.
And you pay well. So one
I
thing,
do.
Like
it's $100 an hour. You can't tell me you got my stuff. What are we talking about?
Yep. Yeah. $100 an hour. And I was going to say,
sorry.
You pay your content manager $50 an hour.
Yes.
And writers very well too. So
yes.
Okay. Well, good luck with the new developer. Have you done any work with her yet?
No, because I was hoping to onboard her next week, but we'll see if I have anything to onboard her to. I may just have to figure it out myself.
Okay. And onboarding, meaning your old developer needed to...
I wanted him to go through like, here's all the systems that we're using. Here are the things I've learned about code that I've changed for this plugin, whatever. Background.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And... Well, I guess your new developer can have a quick look, but actually that's one thing maybe is an ongoing situation that you have documentation of the work that the person does along the way.
Which I had asked for previously. Like I went back to the job description that I had posted that he had applied for, and I had outlined exactly that. I was like, a developer log. I would like a weekly update. Like these are the things that I had said. And I was like, I said them right there. And then I just allowed it not to happen?
Yep. I was going to say, and then you have to make them do it. So.
I don't know. I'm not your mother.
Right. We're coming towards the end. So, Christy, what do you have coming up like in November and really for the rest of the year too?
Yes. So I would say November on, I'm in the mode of one part living the holiday dream here, hoping that, traffic and earnings stay up. The second part is spending the next 60 days prepping for next year now that I have a full team supporting me. So I'm going through looking at all the retainers that I'll have, kind of running the math on that. Like I said, pre-saving that money for all of next year so that I just know I already have it. I'm not relying on the site to make the money I need to pay people. That's just something I like to do. And then just looking at kind of the focus for next year. So whether that pivots to updating existing content, which is kind of where I'm leaning, I'm just going to kind of put together the plan for 2023. So if people have advice/input on that, happy to hear it. I think you have people just comment on the videos or the blog, and then we can talk about it.
Cool. And yeah, people can shoot me an email, feedback@Doug.Show, if you have questions. Or, of course, on the YouTube side, you can just leave a comment, which we'll check out, and we can, add it to the list. So that sounds good. Yes, we'll look at sort of plans for next year. And the other thing is, if you are watching or listening, you can help me out by either leaving a review over on Apple Podcast or Spotify, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Leave a comment. You can hit the thumbs up. All those things sort of help out. And if you're not on the email list, you can sign up over at nichesiteproject.com. Click the green button, enter your name and email, and I'll send you updates whenever I do interviews and such. But you also get all the systems and templates that I use. And actually, Christy, you wrote some templates that you use. So you started with mine, and then you have shared things like your, job posting for writers, the documents you use for like onboarding and content briefs and so on. And that includes like style guidelines and other, very specific details, examples too. So people can customize it, but you give a few examples as well.
Correct.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, Christy. And we'll talk to you coming up soon.
Cool. Thanks.